Hey guys, welcome back to Soback Sports, and I'm so back with another video. And unlike the previous video where I discussed the implications of the 49ers winning or losing, I wanted to go over the opposite scenario with the Kansas City Chiefs and what their implications are when they win the Super Bowl and when they lose the Super Bowl. And before we get into the rest of this video, please again don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot, and helps me create more content like this. So please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And now let's get back to the video. So in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs, so if we take a little step back and talk about this season as a whole, like you saw that they had went 11-6 and was had are still won the AFC West. And you got to think about it this way because they started off the season very good. Like they had like a mean winning streak. I mean besides the Detroit Lions game, they went pretty well. Like let's look at the schedule real quick. So they were on a very big winning streak. They won six in a row. There were 6-1 in the league, and then they had a small, like slight drop off with, with the loss to the Broncos, a loss to the Eagles, Packers, Bills, Raiders, like teams that they shouldn't lose to really, and you know, it happens. I get it. Like it's not meant to. You're not supposed to have a perfect season, but they had a lot of issues when it came to like their coaching, their like offensive coordinator and Matt Nagy, who we've seen before, like become conservative in terms of its offensive scheming, and we wrote them off pretty much this season because it's like, oh wow, this is the most like vulnerable we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs play. Like people like Kadarius Toney have and Valdez Scantling have been dropping passes left and right. Mahomes has been frustrated on the sidelines, and the whole team as a whole was, not in the right state of mind. Travis Kelsey even didn't really register a touchdown or even like that much like points really later in the season, but they were managed to still get above 10 wins and even clutch out the AFC West as a whole. But they are a different team when it comes to the playoffs, and it just proves to show like you can never count out the Kansas City Chiefs no matter what situation you're in, because they could be pretty average or even above average during the regular season, and we'll be like, oh, they could be vulnerable. But when it comes to the playoffs, they flip a switch. They go into the zone of, okay, we're going to win every single game. And I don't know whether it's the play calling changed from Matt Nagy to Andy Reid, or Andy Reid is helping Matt Nagy with the play calling. But the one constant I will say on this team is their defense. Their defense has been historically good. They have been lights out. I think they're like top 2 in the league. And, hats off to Spagnuolo for being a great defensive coordinator, calling the right plays at the right times, galvanizing the troops and being able to, utilize Chris Jones and the rest of that defense to, be as efficient as possible. So, what does this mean if they win? All right. That just cements that they've won back-to-back Super Bowls, and are in position to win 3 in a row. I know it's very it's very presumptive to say such things, especially with how volatile this league is. But clearly during the season, the Chiefs showed some vulnerability, and yet when it comes to the playoffs, they flip a switch. So, if they end up winning the Super Bowl against the 49ers defense, who is lights out, that proves that they could add on to the current staff or current roster and make this team even better than this year. And think about it. The Kansas City Chiefs, this is their weakest year out of all when Patrick Mahomes has played. Maybe besides his first year, but even his first year, he had like Tyreek Hill and everyone. But this year is like he doesn't really have a true wide receiver one besides maybe Rashee Rice, who has been outstanding as a rookie and has proven to be Patrick Mahomes' like new target number one. And that's great. And think about it. If you could develop a wide receiver like that and Mahomes is like were the wide receiver besides Travis Kelce. Like, if you keep adding more weapons to that, you will still be a better team. And as long as you have Mahomes and as long as you have Andy Reid, I don't see them being bad going forward. However, if they lose the Super Bowl, I mean, it doesn't necessarily change much. It's the fact that, okay, they have done everything, like to, in the playoffs specifically, to get to the Super Bowl. And that's a huge feat in itself. And how not many teams can repeat, especially with a weaker team like this. Not saying that by any means that this team is bad. I'm saying like this is not the best team like output wise that we have seen from like Patrick Mahomes. The thing is Patrick Mahomes and the team around him has very solid play calling in order to make this team a lot better. And it's really cool to see like, this is the way to go. You have to really see like how other teams are approaching their rebuilds or approaching their building their team just like the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is an example of like how you build a potential dynasty. And let's look at their salary cap and stuff. Like, so to be honest, besides Mahomes, like their cap hit, they actually have, if you want to check out their ranking, I'm pretty sure it's right. Okay. So the ranking wise, Kansas City ranks 17th in the league in terms of free cap space. Like, that's enough to add a bunch of weapons and even pay some of the players that are on the team. Maybe even consider bringing Chris Jones back, given that he's a free agent next season. And, let's see, Chris Jones, Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman they just brought in just for the heck of it. Donovan Smith, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it's a backup running back. Let's see, L'Jarius Sneed. I think that's a solid person a cornerback to bring back. L'Jarius Sneed has been really good in that secondary. Bolster up your secondary. If you want, use that money to pay and, keep long-term these players that can take you back-to-back Super Bowls or even a three-peat potentially. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure no team in the NFL has ever three-peated. The closest we've seen is Tom Brady when he was on the Patriots. And, this is a team that could potentially do it. Will it happen? Probably not because we haven't seen it yet. But, this is a different team. And given that Mahomes, he didn't look as great in the beginning of the season, but he always ends up turning it up when it comes to the playoffs. So, all in all, we will see that, that there's a lot that the Kansas City Chiefs could do. If win or lose, I feel like Kansas City is in a really good spot no matter what. They would love to win it because it would help with the legacy of Patrick Mahomes. And, if Mahomes... excuse me, would be going to 4 Super Bowls and win 3 of them potentially if he won, or he would be 2-2 in the last 7 years. And I gotta say, a lot of people would want that record in general. Like, even if they lost 2 Super Bowls, like a lot of teams don't even make it to the Super Bowl, and they make it once and they haven't made it back since. So at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs are in a great spot, and hats off to them for making this team. It's a little bit like, dang, they're going to be like the Patriots, and we're going to have to sit through another potential dynasty if they win. But, yeah, my mind says that the Kansas City wins, but I really do want the 49ers to, pull off the upset. Because as much as Vegas, as much as everyone says, the Niners are the real underdogs here. Let's be really honest with ourselves, because no matter what you say, you could call the Kansas City Chiefs underdogs. That's a complete false statement, because how are you underdogs when you beat essentially the Baltimore Ravens or you handily beat the Baltimore Ravens that demolished the 49ers? How do you say how do you say that the Kansas City Chiefs are underdogs? It boggles my mind. But yeah, that's a little bit of my spiel. That's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I would love to read what you guys have to say. And yeah, as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.